What do we expect from the next iteration of Kingdom Hearts? We're going to be doing the discussion on that today for Kingdom Hearts 4 and a lot more on today's episode of Systematic Ecology. We're the Priest of the Geeks. I'm your host, Christian Ashley, joined in the house of Joshua Noel by Joshua himself.
That noise you just heard was my notification that Systematic Ecology is going live on YouTube.
I should probably have my phone on silent too. Yeah,
we're great at
idea.
Yeah. So if you hear a slight echo, it is because we're recording in the same room, and we're podcasters who don't know how to podcast in person. We're good at our jobs.
We're the best at this. Well, and speaking of being the best, I had talked to Joshua about doing this about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." And I was going to be down visiting him today, so we've already recorded another one earlier today. And I was like, "So is there an outline for this one?" And he said, "Oh no, you're leading it."
It was his idea. It seems only fair.
So yeah, we're going to be winging this sucker. We got the basis for it, so you won't get your usual quality from me, and you can blame Joshua for that.
I'll gladly take the blame. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So Joshua, what have you been geeking out on recently?
Earlier today, I played a couple hours of Super Smash Bros. Of course, with the Kingdom Hearts DLC. Gotta be. And I had a wonderful discovery today because we did a couple different tournaments. I put Christian through a tournament that's literally just called Hell. Just message me.
It was.
Know about the, it's all the worst settings with the worst maps. It's great. Anyway, after 3 tournaments, and then we did 2 squad strikes where you got to play as different characters just one-on-one with each other. I've discovered I'm finally better with Sora than I am Pikachu, and that's a life accomplishment.
Yeah,
I'm stunned by my own I had to gaslight myself into being good with Sora, and I finally did it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I am super rusty. Now I won't use that as the excuse for why I lost, but yeah.
Oh, no, you won. He's lying to you.
No. It wasn't my best showing. We'll put it that way. So yeah, I'll put that forward as my geeking out too.
To be fair, I won when it was easy. When it came to Hell, Christian did last the longest in Hell. By far.
Well, that's because I've got the better theology about Hell. Cheers. All right.
I'm going to shout out myself.
Okay.
I got creative because I was like, I'm going to hang out with a friend who doesn't drink. And I was like, I'm going to come creative non-alcoholic drinks. So every now and then I've been doing shout outs for Theology Beer Camp 2024 in Denver, Colorado, October 17th through 19th, where you can get $50 off by using the code Geekshire, GEEKSHIRE. And, I'm like, hey, I'm drinking a beer. Let me tell you about the beer so I can tell you about Theology Beer Camp. Well, today, I don't have a beer to tell you about, but I did make a nice punch, and it reminded me that at Theology Beer Camp 2024 in Denver, Colorado, October 17th through 19th, there are plenty of non-alcoholic options, including an AA meeting for people who just don't wish to participate in such things. So, hey, if you still want to go, use that code. Get $50 off. Meet us there. Hang out. I might even make this punch for you. It's pretty good.
Well said. All right. So today's discussion is revolving around Kingdom Hearts 4. It's been announced. We don't know exactly when it's going to release. Our most optimistic estimates would say 2025. I'd say probably 2026 at the earliest. So right now we're in that period of
2024.
Nah, I wish, but I don't see that happening.
It's not.
So yeah, we're at that point of what is going to be in the next game. Just like we were for 3, we waited forever for 3. What worlds were going to be in there? What characters were going to be cameos? Turns out not too many. And then new enemies. How is this saga going to end? This is the start of a new saga in Kingdom Hearts 4. So we're going to be figuring out exactly what's going to happen. This is canon from the moment we speak. So Joshua.
Well, hold up though. I do want to say part of why Kingdom Hearts 3 took so long, and when it came out, it was actually it was a little bit more than half of my life that I had spent waiting for the end of the Kingdom Hearts saga. Because Kingdom Hearts 1 came out when I was 10. And I waited for that sucker more than half my life to see Sora and Kyrie finally get together, because in my mind, that's the end of the story that I wanted. And they were like, nope, this is just how they defeat Xehanort. The story continues in the next saga where they're still not together. I'm just frustrated. But the reason Kingdom Hearts 3 took so long was because the creator said he wasn't going to make another one until he had Pixar. So once he could do some Pixar worlds, we got that. We don't know if the same thing's happening here. I'm curious if he's kind of waiting for Star Wars or Marvel or something to get like Disney to say it's okay.
I mean, that's one of the questions I was going to ask.
Perfect.
We might as well start there while we're already here. Do you want there to be a Marvel or Star Wars world?
I want there to be what's the forest planet?
Endor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Endor. I want there to be Endor. I think that would be a fun world. I also could see a world where it would be cool to not have either of them as worlds, but have elements involved. Like it'd be fine to have a lightsaber or keyblade, or hey, maybe our spaceship travel now doesn't need to be gummy ships. Maybe we just use an X-wing and we encounter the Galactic Empire in space. Like that would be cool in between worlds.
Well, I'll tell you, my dream idea, if they are doing a Star Wars world, is you're on your path, on your gummy ship, and then suddenly you see the beginning of the Star Destroyer, and you see the rest of it, and suddenly you're caught in a tractor beam.
Yes.
And you're forced on side of it. It could be, it starts as a gummy battle, and then you get brought in, and then you fight Vader for the first time, and then you end up on Endor or something like that. Because the reason we would say that is part of the trailer that they released. There is something that looks like the leg of an ATST, and it does certainly look like the forest planet of Endor, forest moon of Endor. So
one could only hope
and
dream and believe and hope and hope and hope. No, I agree with all that. It would be so cool. It would be so cool to get some Star Wars stuff, and Star Wars philosophy goes so well with the Kingdom Hearts light and dark and balance.
Yes.
And, like it would be so good. I would love for them. I know they will never. This is one of those things that they would never do that I would love if they were like, hey, we're not going to give you any of the Star Wars stuff you expect. Instead, Sora is randomly on like a Lilo and Stitch ship or something that's not related to Star Wars at all. And then boom, there's an Ahsoka cameo, and he has a heart-to-heart with Ahsoka about not understanding whether he really is light or dark or are both necessary. And that would be beautiful. I would love that. That'd be fun.
Okay. Yeah, if they decided to go Clone Wars instead, that era, or yeah, I could see that. I'd be fine with it. Now, for the Marvel side of things, I'd be fine with the world. I mean, you could easily do, like, I mean, if you really wanted to be the popular thing, do the Avengers. I'm hoping not the MCU. As much as I like them, I just think they should do their own original thing with it. And honestly, if you could do a Spider-Man level and have a Keyblade based around swinging around the city or something like that,
it'd be kind of cool.
I forgot. Amazing.
I forget what it's called, but in Kingdom Hearts 3, the Keyblade transformation stuff that you can do,
yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. You could do something like that. I kind of don't want there to be a real world MCU world. Like I love, Captain America's my favorite thing ever, and I want Goofy to be able to have a Captain America shield. That should be an option. That'd be cool. But like, I just don't want to Earth Marvel. Now, if they just randomly show up on why can't I think of the name? The disembodied head in space,
nowhere.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Oh, they just run the Guardians instead.
Run the Guardians. Yeah, that would be fun.
Okay,
I could get down with that. Or they end up on one of the worlds in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, because that video game was great, and I think that would surprise everybody. That'd be a big twist. Everyone's like, "Oh, are they going to do Marvel?" Yeah, but not the Marvel you expect.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Guardians if they did that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The least likely thing they would do that I think would be the coolest, as far as like video game mechanics go, you just land in World War Hulk. That's it. Wow. The mechanics would be great. It would be so much fun.
Yeah. Okay. You have anything else you want to add for Marvel or Star Wars?
I would be okay with multiple Star Wars worlds if they went back to some of that format of just having more worlds. Kingdom Hearts 3 did not have enough worlds, in my opinion.
I heartily agree.
Yeah.
I would have easily waited longer for more worlds, and for those worlds to have um, a good story as far as Kingdom Hearts side of things were, instead of like retreading the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that I felt like on its own, I was like, "Oh, this was good." Well, actually, there was a couple that I thought had okay. Like there was a few good moments in the Monsters Inc. world in Kingdom Hearts
Oh,
3.
absolutely. But as an original story, that worked amazingly.
Yeah. But mostly the Pirates one. The Pirates world, I think, was the best Disney world they did.
That was fun. It added elements of your favorite Assassin's Creed game, Black Flag, and
That's funny.
the ship to ship combat. Yeah, I enjoyed that world a lot.
Yeah. What's funny though, and I have to keep making this joke, and it's going to be I feel like it's a lot like whenever I kept saying in Star Wars that R2D2 was the Force, because every time they said "May the Force be with you," R2D2 came, and then all of a sudden, one of my favorite Star Wars movies ruined it because Last Jedi said "May the Force be with you," and there was no R2D2.
Yeah, it ruined many things.
And just ruining me trolling people is the worst. But the trolling thing that I like to do with Kingdom Hearts is, in all three main entries, well, in the third game, only two worlds return. And it happens to be my favorite of all things Disney. It's just Hercules and Pirates of the Caribbean. They made Kingdom Hearts 3 with me in mind, specifically. What could make Josh happiest? Forget about the rest. We'll do Hercules. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think they only included Ratatouille so that I would have some reason to try to convince TJ. If there was anything that I could be like, TJ, play this. And it still hasn't won him over. So here's the first world I'm going to suggest for Kingdom Hearts 4, Treasure Planet.
I heartily agree. Now, what do you want from that world?
Okay, so you mentioned kind of like a space beam thing with a Star Wars thing, which calls back for me some of the stuff that happened in the original Kingdom Hearts game with Monstro, and then also with Captain Hook's ship, where we kind of run into scenarios in space, and that causes us to be in a world rather than us landing. But if I'm remembering right, that doesn't happen again in 2 or 3, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah, so I'd like them to kind of bring that part of the story back where some of that stuff happens. So fun if it happened with Star Wars. I think it would be fun if it happened in Treasure Planet, where we're just kind of innocently going along, and maybe even Sora's like, "Oh, it's Captain Hook, let's get him," and then he jumps on the ship, and instead we see a good crew.
Yes.
Sorry, I was blanking on Jim's name. I think
Jim Hawkins.
Yeah, that's what was happening. I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
It'd be fun if he jumped in expecting to have to fight Hook, and then boom, there's Jim Hawkins, and then boom, there's some whales flying around in space. It's not Monstro.
But that'd be another perfect way. Since we don't really have, what there are other Pirates movies they could do in the franchise, but honestly, it would feel a little stale to me if they went back there again. Especially with the stories those pirate movies had to tell. I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but if they,
Boo.
yeah, go ahead and boo. So if they go this route, you get to have that ship combat again in space, fighting Heartless, and then going from there to the actual treasure planet itself, and dealing with like the darkness inside of Silver's heart, and how he's been mentoring Jim. All this. The spin have a heart, the robot, and then how they can navigate finding that treasure, what that treasure actually means for Sora right now. And one of the things that we probably should have done earlier, this is what you give for the structure, is like, where is Sora right now as part of his journey?
Yeah, we got ahead of ourselves a little bit. Also, I want to apologize to the listeners. Usually, I'm able to mute my mic, yell, "Copper, you be quiet, boy," or whatever. So you're just gonna have to hear the dog howl because I can't mute both of us.
so let's go away from the worlds again. We'll come back to it. Where do we see Sora at the beginning of this? Because we know for sure he's going to be in a world called Quadratum. He is there with Strelitzia, who is one of the Keyblade wielders from the past, who was part of Union X and the first Keyblade War that I know next to nothing about. The movie they had for the 0.5s was explained nothing and left me feeling what's going on. Do I understand the mobile game? Nope.
There are all kinds of YouTube videos to watch that explains it, and only if you're as much of a loser as I are they fun. Because it's so much nonsense, so much. It's just it takes hours of nonsense for you to be like, okay, I now know what happens. I can't say that I understand what happens, but I think I now know what happens. Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. That's like I have read my Bible. I cannot tell you that I understand all of it, but I have read all of it.
Wow. So, where do you think Sora is at this time?
Exactly where you said. I think
Okay.
it's another dimension. So, and I'm kind of hopeful that it's another dimension.
Mhm.
Um, as much as the multiverse storylines get just worn out and tiring and just stupid, I think if Kingdom Hearts does it, it'll be different. I don't think it'll be here's another dimension where everything's just slightly different. I think it'll be completely different. And I'm kind of hopeful that it's a dimension that we start off in a dimension where everything's live action, basically. I think that would be kind of fun. And that's why maybe we'll get some of these live action worlds like Star Wars or uh, save my most wanted world for later, insert
Yes.
here, those kind of things before he goes back to his dimension where all the worlds are mostly animated with the exception of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
I think we will go back to the dimension with animated movies if that is what happens, because it does seem like they're wanting to do more animated films.
Yeah, I think it's going to start off Sora alone with Strelitzia. Him kind of figuring out how did he end up here as a result of him using the power of waking to turn back the clock, as it were, to give everyone a chance to actually succeed in the fight against Organization 13. And like, what does it mean now? Is he alive in this way now? That he was it the only way he could survive was moving to this other realm that works on different rules or something.
Mhm.
We know Heartless are there. We've seen that part of the trailer. We know he's still able to summon his Keyblade, but he appears to be alone. And we also see in the trailer that Donald and Goofy are in some undisclosed location that's probably the underworld, trying to find out what Sora is. Probably because they think maybe he died, and that would be what they would look.
Yeah, because also we got to have more Hercules.
Oh, of course.
Only world in all three Kingdom Hearts games, and also the best Disney movie. But yeah. Well, there are several different things other than just the dimensions, which I just think would be fun. There are already established realms in Kingdom Hearts, especially if you play the mobile games. You know that there is like a dark realm, a light realm, and then that's kind of realm that's in between, and we don't understand. Question mark. That's as the case in a lot of Kingdom Hearts lore. We also know time travel is just a thing. Maleficent has traveled back in time several times to mess around with the Kingdom Hearts people in the time of the Master of Masters.
Mhm.
And also, some time travel thing seems pretty likely to be a part of the story, considering it seems like the Master of Masters is back, or we're going back in time to when he first was, one of the two.
Mhm. Yeah, as far as this is concerned as well, we also have this possibility of learning who the Master of Masters is. Like, is he the bad guy? It kind of feels like it a little bit. I don't know if I totally go there yet. We'll figure that out as time goes on. But also for this world, I think from what I understand, at least from what I've heard of rumors, this may be used as like a hub world in the same way that Traverse Town would be. So you may be coming back multiple times over the course of the game, discovering a little more about it. It may be the same world as The World Ends With You, which we already had in Dream Drop Distance. Since it does look like Shibuya, and it is modeled after that region, which is where that game takes place. So potentially that could happen again. We could see Neku and the gang again, which I'd be fine with because I did enjoy their inclusion in Dream Drop Distance. So yeah, I think it'll be a fine starting world, and then sort of like regaining his powers again, 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 and again, starting at level 1.
I honestly I don't mind that they do that though. Like I kind of have fun with it. Although I argue against it in Kingdom Hearts 3 because it does seem like he starts off with some pretty cool abilities.
Yes.
That being the only exception, though. All of the other 1 and 2 and
Yeah.
all of the point fives and point eights and in between games and mobile games and phone games. We just start over a lot. And also discover if you're not starting over, you're a new character who happens to be Sora starting over.
Yeah, I don't mind that we always start off at level 1 again. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of those bits of immersion I could just, like, pretend doesn't happen, and we could just start off a game at level 1 because you gotta start off the game from the beginning. So and
Yeah.
then you can just justify it as Sora just being like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting to use the bigger stuff later on."
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's also, I think the problem is Kingdom Hearts has a tendency that by the end of the game, you're almost overpowered. Like, if I started Kingdom Hearts 2 with all my abilities at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1,
Oh gosh.
also keep in mind for everyone that I didn't know what an RPG was the first time I played, so I had to be at level 99 to win because I didn't upgrade my Keyblade or anything at all. If I started the next game at level 99 and had gravity and the Ragnarok move and everything, I would not have struggled at all in that game. It would have not been fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, now that we've done that, let's get back to what we were talking about earlier.
I can't stay on point when we're talking about the world's greatest video game franchise. I apologize.
It's okay. So, anything else you wanna add for Treasure Planet before we move on? Other worlds we choose?
Other worlds I would choose, or are we just talking about Treasure Planet?
Start with that, and then I can go or you can go, either one.
Treasure Planet, wasn't really one of the ones I was planning on picking. It's just one that I was going to make a joke because that would get TJ to maybe care. But the more I think about it, it would be fun. We don't have a lot, or I think we have a total of one world in all of the Kingdom Hearts games from the post-Renaissance era of Disney, and it's Lilo and Stitch. So it's kind of like, duh, we included Lilo and Stitch. Pull something more fun, something more random out. Although personally, if I was going to pick one for the post Renaissance, just one, it wouldn't be Treasure Planet. It would be Brother Bear.
Okay. Interesting choice. Have at it.
Brother Bear is one of my favorites, actually. And it's especially one of my favorites in the post Renaissance. And it gets ignored. And I hate that it gets ignored. I love Brother Bear. But the reason I would pick it for Kingdom Hearts specifically, I miss the Tarzan world.
Ooh.
I loved the Tarzan world.
Mhm.
And there's a few worlds you could do that would kind of give you the similar vibe. And obviously, I understand why they're not going to do Tarzan again, but you could do Pocahontas.
Yes.
You could do Jungle Book.
Mhm. Well, it was supposed to be in, I think, Birth by Sleep at one point in time, and it got cut for time.
That broke my heart. But yeah, I would like, when it comes down to it, I think I would like, because they're not going to do Pocahontas for other racial reasons, but I think I would like either Brother Bear or Jungle Book. So if I'm picking one from post Renaissance and it's not Treasure Planet, it's Brother Bear because I think that would be unique. And we already did Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, Brother Bear sounds like an excellent choice. We've already done animal worlds before, with Lion King and stuff like that, so it'd be a natural for them to do that. And then, of course, you're dealing with the rage and the evil inside of Kenai's heart, which would be perfect as maybe actually ending making him a heartless boss at the end of the game if he gives to it. And you having to fight against him to bring him back to the light.
I just had a really fun idea.
Go for it.
Sorry. This is like, if we're going to go back to where like the world's actually had a point in the story instead of just being there.
Yes.
Imagine if the reason they include Brother Bear is because Sora's able to learn from how he turns being into a bear into a good thing and redeems that part of himself instead of denying it or having to turn. Sora learns from that what happens in his heart and is able to redeem Heartless. I don't know what the ability would be called, but instead of killing it, because right now, the big problem in Kingdom Hearts, you kill a Heartless and the heart goes to Kingdom Hearts and powers up the bad guys. You kill a nobody and the body goes and powers up the bad guys. Everything you do to kill ends up feeding the darkness. But if you find a way not to kill, but instead to redeem,
Restore.
Yeah, restore. That's a better word. If you restore instead, then you're taking the power away from the oppressors. And that has a nice political ring to it. It has a good actual solution to the bad guy problem of Kingdom Hearts. I think that'd be fun.
I like that idea a lot because I mean, in game you are able to reconnect other people by beating their heartless and their nobodies, but those are specifically named characters along the way. So the idea of doing it for Joe Schmo on the street who just happened to end up as a heartless and a nobody, like yeah, that's a very heroic thing. Let's do something like that.
Oh, that would be so fun. Also, I think it could make the game more challenging if Sora starts making his mission instead of just beat the Heartless. You have to stun them long enough that you can restore them with whatever magic move. That could be fun. That could be an interesting little side part of the game. I don't foresee this happening. This is just stuff I think would be cool.
It's an interesting mechanic, but I'm with you. I don't think they'll actually do it.
Yeah. But I do think at some point they're going to have to resolve the problem they created of killing fuels the bad guys. So you can't kill the bad guys without powering other bad guys. And at some point, for the story to have any sense of completion, if assuming they ever want to complete the story, which is a pretty big assumption, I guess, they have to find a way around that or to solve that. And it's one way that could work.
And I think it would be a good idea to, in that, what if the heroes actually decide to do something about Kingdom Hearts? You know, instead of being passive and just like, well, you know, Xehanort 3.0 plus 350 over 2 is having his evil scheme about Kingdom Hearts for the 50th time. Maleficent wants to do something with it. Well, why don't the heroes actually do their research and how can we utilize Kingdom Hearts without causing the break that happened forever ago so that they don't get to abuse it?
Ooh, see, that could be good too. Lots of things we could do. Okay, sorry. Did not mean to derail the world conversation.
No, because I like that idea because it gives other characters something to do because our cast is bloated now. And I was going to talk about them later, but just for the sake of this, that could give like maybe Terra something to do. And like while Aqua is training Kyrie and Ventus is doing something on other worlds, like he could be joining with someone else to study Kingdom Hearts and like try to redeem himself.
Ironically, I kind of feel like this is also a side tangent. I feel like Kingdom Hearts has the opposite problem that so many of our TV shows have now, where so many shows have the problem where, okay, and movies of, okay, how can we be the next MCU? We're going to start creating all of the side characters get their own movie, and then we'll bring them back together, and we're going to recreate the MCU. And Kingdom Hearts' problem is that they're trying not to do that. And I actually think games might work better if they said, okay, we're going to do a game with Sora storyline, then we'll do a game with Terra storyline, and then we'll do a game with... Treat them separately. They are separate. They don't all have to be together all the time, especially when we're talking about a game that masses multiple realms, dimensions, time eras. Like it actually would make perfect sense to have games that cover different parts of the story instead of trying to cram it all into the same game.
Yeah, that could help dilute some of the bloat.
Yeah.
So any other worlds you would want now that we've gotten off track again?
Oh, tons. Mostly. So there's two big things I want to talk about. One is very specific. Do you want the specific one first, or do you want the general idea first?
Specific first.
Listen, everybody's talking about, is it going to be Star Wars and Marvel? Are they going to include this stuff? And it's like we forgot. Disney has Indiana Jones. I could get an Indiana Jones level. That would be the greatest thing ever.
You get to explore different locations, jungles, deserts, looking for treasure, artifacts.
And it fits so well because imagine Sora and them, they pull up and they crash land outside of the universe or whatever. Indiana Jones runs out. He runs out. He's like, what's going on? Blah, whatever. They're looking for basically an artifact. They're looking for part of a gummy ship. They're looking for, a keyhole, whatever. And even if we go with keyhole, all of a sudden, Professor Jones knows of the stories, of the lore of there used to be said in ancient Greece that there was a keyhole that, whatever made up thing they want to do. Yeah. And Donald and Goofy, especially Donald, is like, I don't know about this guy. We don't know him. We can't be meddling. And Sora's like, he's got a cool hat, adventure, because that's what Sora's gonna do. And
Yeah.
then we just go off on a silly Indiana Jones adventure looking for the keyhole, and it's Indiana Jones in the keyhole.
So you'd want an original story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So no Ark of the
More
Covenant, no
adventure.
Nazis. We don't want Sora encountering Nazis along the way.
I mean, let's throw the Nazis, the Russians, let's throw them all in there. Maybe even some of the aliens. Why not?
You don't want Hitler as a secret bonus boss?
Well, now that you mention it. I gotta say, I think I would derive some pleasure from just doing I want the drives back and just get into perfect drive and let's just beat the living crap out of Hitler. That sounds great.
That would provide some great schadenfreude.
Yeah, like I just you know what? I might accidentally turn the game's console off before it saves, and oh man, I got to do that again.
Oh man, I have to refight the boss.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
All right, now
you want to share one before I do my more general, or do you want me to just jump into my others?
Let's continue with you, and I'll do mine after that.
Okay, I like that they did some new stuff because hey, we're trying to bring new kids into Kingdom Hearts, which was weird to do at the end of Aseka. It would make more sense if they would have waited to do it for this one. I'm okay with including some new Disney, some Moana, whatever. But I want to remind everyone, Kingdom Hearts 1 came out, and all the kids mostly knew Renaissance era because that's where we grew up with. But let's go over the worlds of Kingdom Hearts 1. Alice in Wonderland, Silver era. Tarzan was Renaissance. Hercules was Renaissance. So was Aladdin. So there was a few, right? Peter Pan, Silver era. Monstro, Silver era. Little Mermaid was technically Renaissance, but pretty close to being the Bronze era. We did get a lot of Bronze era characters. If you think about the 101 Dalmatians, Winnie the Pooh, like it spanned all of the time of Disney when it came out. And yeah, it focused on some of the Renaissance because that's what we were familiar with. So yeah, hey, let's do Moana. Let's do whatever. That's cool. That's fine. I love Moana. I'm down for it. If I had to do a new one though, let's do Encanto. That'd be way cooler. Imagine sorry, this is a side tangent, but imagine a fun little game where you're looking for the keyhole, but it's in the house, and every time you go to a room, the house just moves where the keyhole is.
That would sound both fun and frustrating at the same time.
It sounds exactly like something Kingdom Hearts would do. But what I say is I want more golden, silver, bronze era Disney movies. I want some more of those classics because kids still love them. Just like we grew up with it. Like a lot of kids are still growing up with The Jungle Book. A lot of kids are still growing up with Peter Pan. You know, personally, the most ridiculous world that I think they see. There's a lot of cameos I would want from these. I think it'd be fun to have Mr. Toad randomly show up somewhere. Give me a 3 Caballeros. Let's have Donald encounter his old friends and just some silly nonsense.
If they did Traverse Town or Twilight Town again, that sounds like the perfect opportunity for them to show up and him just like, hey, we're all bandmates of Donald, and we're gonna host a battle of the bands over here.
Yes. Yeah, I think mostly I want more fun cameos like that. I want the 3 Caballeros. I want Ichabod and Mr. Toad to show up at some point. The Headless Horseman. That would be a fun, heartless bad guy.
Oh, absolutely.
But like a lot of the films I really love in the Bronze era, like Aristocats. I personally would love it if they did either or both. Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective.
Both of those were on my list.
Fantastic. Great picks.
Black Cauldron, I know it didn't do well financially because of mismanagement. They just didn't advertise it as it should have been. It's a terrible adaptation of the original books it's based on, but it's a tremendous movie. It's got a solid villain, someone who could easily be one of the best bosses they've ever had in the game, in the Horn King. You got his minions who kind of serve the same role that Maleficence did in Birth by Sleep. They could be part of who you're fighting against alongside the Heartless in this world. Like, there is so much tremendous potential there, and it could be part of Sora's journey in this game too, is to see Taran giving up Black Cauldron to save Fergie's life might bring Sora back to where he needs to be. to be that more optimistic person who does something for the greater good. You know,
Oh yeah.
with
Oh yeah, man, and that's both of those, and my other pick that I was going to bring up are I think examples of like what Kingdom Hearts used to. What in my opinion they used to do really well. That I think they dropped the ball on a little bit in Kingdom Hearts 3. Not just
yes,
picking worlds because this is what people like right now, but picking worlds that actually make sense for the video game. Um, Black Cauldron's a great example because even though the movie didn't do great, that would be a crazy cool level in a video game. And you might get a lot of kids to want to watch that movie again. Um, but my other pick, I'm blanking on the name, and that's embarrassing. But I want Sora to help King Arthur look for Excalibur.
Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yes,
That would be a really fun video game level.
we've had Merlin this whole time, but he also ages backward. It's like in the film. So like, well, let's put him in here and show the actual origin story of Excalibur. Is Excalibur a Keyblade? Uh,
That would be awesome.
Excalibur is a Keyblade in the canon of my books. I can't use that word to describe it, but you can read it between the lines, and it's there. So Disney don't sue.
Fantastic. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are my main picks right now. Would be
I mean,
yeah.
you can be Merlin in. It's like he knows who Sora is, and like, look, Arthur needs someone like you who has gone through all this adversity to teach him how to wield the sword, how to be a king, how to look after the people he loves and protects. It's like that makes perfect sense to me.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it would just be fun. Sword fighting, heartless, like all that good stuff. Like we get in Black Cauldron too. I don't want to not spend any time talking about my other pick of the Great Mouse Detective. It would just be so much fun, even if they didn't make you mice, but just kind of being like tiny on that level, and you're just basically playing Sherlock. And Radigan is such a cool bad guy, and infused with heartless power. That would be a great final boss fight. It would be so much fun.
Well, I think that world will be a lot of fun if it forces Sora to be a detective, if it forces him to think.
Yeah. Like a world
Because
where we're actually doing like a Batman kind of thing.
yeah, because that's not who he is, and that's something he could use to grow as a person. Is be confronted with something like, well, I can't just keyblade this to death. I need to actually think through this mystery.
And so we're just giving them ideas for free. Imagine if through it he learns a new magic, because that's another thing we could have talked about, which we might still. But magics, because the magic changes each game of what all Sora can do. It would be fun to have a magic spell that's not necessarily attack based, but it's rather reveal, kind of like what happens in the Hogwarts Legacy game. Being able to have that reveal and find hidden items and stuff in some of the worlds and stuff, and you learn that through detective work, like that'd be so cool. That'd be fun.
Well, that could even be the trinity of this game. Is that's why you have to come back to certain worlds to find and unlock items.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be nice. That would be cool. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Good idea, Christian. I give you all the credit.
Well, Disney
Square
pay me
Enix
so
better give you the credit too.
and you pay me so they don't sue me. And
Yes, yes.
so my picks, besides what you've mentioned, which are excellent choices, Atlantis is probably near the top. If it's not Treasure Planet, it's Atlantis.
That would be cool. I gotta say that'd be pretty cool.
Because you've got submersible conflict. You've got exploring the ruins underneath the earth and a very journey to the center of the earth kind of way. You've got Atlantis itself, and you've got a boss fight with a crystallized Rourke who the crystal itself may have been corrupted by darkness or something like that. And that forces them to work together to stop him from causing devastation in the world as he gets infected by it. I'd love to see something like that. You can even have combat based on the ships too that they fly.
That would be pretty cool. Sorry, I thought of another which we should do this afterwards, I guess. I was gonna say we should talk about some of the ones they're more likely to do, because they're more likely to pull from newer movies. I thought of a couple of fun ones, but I'll let you go.
Okay. I also would pick The Rescuers, as it'd be a more whimsical, fun one. It wouldn't be a higher stakes world, but it's Sora having to deal with, if you did Rescuers or Rescuers Down Under, either way, it's a child in trouble Sora can't ignore that, or maybe he wants to ignore it to focus on some other goal, and that's part of his growth is going, I need to stop thinking about this and then focus on what matters, like, and that's protecting and preserving life. Even though I think the best thing would be to ignore this and do something else, I can't ignore that kid in danger. I need to help these mice find a way to rescue this girl or this boy, depending on the movie that they used.
Oh yeah, and it's got a much grander feel than a lot of the worlds we've done so far. Like I feel like it feels more like an epic when you're watching it. So I think that would be fun to just kind of have that different vibe in there instead of all the worlds feeling kind of samey.
Yeah. I'd like to let's go back to Aladdin. We could do Princess Thieves. That was the third one, right?
Yeah, that was a fun story.
That way, because you get an older character in that's already established. That with the relationship with Sora, it'd be perfect there for the reveal about who Aladdin's dad is and how they handle all that, and maybe for once Sora could think about his own parents.
Yeah, I was just thinking that'd be fun. Yeah. Well, also part of why I love that too, though, is for me, Kingdom Hearts 2 is not my favorite. But one of my favorite things in Kingdom Hearts 2, when you went to worlds you always went to before, they did such a good job in the animation and voice acting of like when characters like, oh, hey, it's you, Jack, and he's so excited, and they're like embracing each other, and it's like, oh, these are old friends seeing each other, and it
feels good.
It did. When you finally see Simba in his own world, and you have all that like, oh wait, last time I saw you, you didn't have a world, and it's like they're embracing each other, and they're there, and you're like honestly, I'm getting chills thinking about it because it was done so well. And there's something about seeing this is really ironic talking about it right now, seeing old friends where you're like, oh, it's just so good to see you again. And it showed so genuinely in that game. So to have that again would be great.
Okay. To not list every single Disney movie in existence, I'm going to pick two more and we'll stop.
Well, then I got some more I want us to pick.
Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
You've got Kuzco growing as a character, contrasting to someone like Sora, while he's also having to help Pacha mind Kuzco, while Yzma would be like a perfect villain to fight against.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And you could even make it a mechanic that maybe sometimes you have to swallow a potion to do certain tasks in the world.
Oh, that would be fun.
Kind of like the what you have to eat and drink in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think would be fun with that world too, that I could see happening? You have one of those old Kingdom Hearts 1. I keep calling back Kingdom Hearts 1. It's my favorite. One of those old classic fights between Donald, Goofy, and Sora. And Goofy ends up just going with Donald because he does. But Donald goes with Yzma because it's a magician looking for a king. And he's like, wait a minute, I relate to this.
So he could be the terror of the story.
And Sora's like, she's clearly the bad guy. And then Sora goes and has a fit and he's pouting. And then Sora realizes how immature he's being because he runs into Kuzco. And then you have them building one another and Donald realizing the error of his ways, Sora realizing the error of his. And you have a real story that
reconcile
the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, great. That's a good pick. Sorry.
No. I like it. I like the energy. I lied. I have one more. I have two left. Incredibles.
Ooh.
Whether you did the original story itself or you did a new one in that world, I would actually kind of prefer a new one. Kind of like what they did for Big Hero 6 and forcing the Parr family to work alongside Sora, with maybe Frozone as a support too, for them to deal with like a heartless invasion, and all that would be a ton of fun.
And that's where we could do where Goofy gets Captain America's shield or something there. Like we have some of the Marvel stuff there, and it's just those are the superheroes we go with instead.
It's like an Easter egg.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be cool. All right. I want to see your thoughts on, because they are likely to do more picks from more recent Disney in the revival era of Disney. Okay. Do your thing.
One more. The only reason I think it's an okay movie. It's not my favorite, but Princess and the Frog. I need Dr. Facilier to call his friends from the other side, and they be heartless.
Princess and the Frog is one of the best Disney movies, in my opinion. It's so good. That being said, I've seen film of the new version of Splash Mountain that's now Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and no. Mm-mm. And Bob Iger himself even said, this is too boring. And he's right. The thing is, it's not that I'm upset they changed Splash Mountain. I love Splash Mountain, and I will always miss going through and going diddy doo da. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
But the hill used to be like you have these vultures, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get it now. You're gonna die," and like building anticipation. And now it's like, we're gonna go to a party, wee! And it's like, okay, that's not. No, I need some kind of tension, some kind of like conflict. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all. Anyway,
okay.
I digress.
But what if halfway through the ride, the Heartless invade? And that's what caused.
That's what I was going to say. What if we got Brer Rabbit World? They would never. They would. I hope
absolutely
they don't.
not.
That's a terrible idea.
Disney is doing everything in their power to pretend that doesn't exist, which I understand to an extent, but also just it's part of your history.
I would be a big fan of them re-releasing the movie and just taking out the part that they don't like and just saying, "Hey, this is a re-release because we've grown as a company."
Or that's just at the very beginning. Hey, this was made in a certain time of history. We no longer believe in some of the things said in here. These are not things that we should believe in anymore. So here's the film as is, and you know the parts, or at least you should, that you shouldn't believe in anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the thing I was going to do.
Yes.
More recent Disney. If you had to pick some from the revival era, or some of the more recent Pixar, because one of the two I'm thinking of is a more recent Pixar.
Okay.
I got one of each that I think would be kind of cool to see. And mind you, these aren't necessarily me saying these are my favorite movies. These are me saying these would be some of the coolest things for Kingdom Hearts to do. Onward, would be fantastic. You have the magic combined with like some of the like modern sensitivity, humor kind of stuff, and just the grand quest. And you know, Sora is helping guy whose name I forget.
I've only watched it once.
Oh, you should fix that. It's so good. But again, you have another dad story, so that's kind of interesting.
Yes.
So if we wanted to go with Sora finally wondering about his parents, but also just kind of this quest to like figure out how to make his magic work could coincide with Sora trying to become a Keyblade master finally. So kind of learning more about magic along the way would help him a lot. It would be fun. And it's a perfect excuse to fight goblins and other different kind of monsters and creatures and have evil magic and different Heartless show up. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
My other more recent, and guys, hang in there. I realize I like this movie a lot more than your average person. And I'm not saying that it's one of my favorites. I'm saying it would be a really cool world in Kingdom Hearts. Strange World.
Okay.
Because you have all those weird different creatures, all of the different colors. It is a completely different feel of any other Disney thing, in my opinion. And to have those different kind of creatures as Heartless, it would be cool. And just the way you would have to travel from place to place, I think it would involve a lot of really cool video game mechanics to make it work. And it would just be a lot of fun.
I think that's one of the most mediocre movies they've released in recent years. But I agree with you under the premise of how they can make it work as a world.
Yeah, like it's by no means one of Disney's best. It's not. Yeah. But it's not as bad as people made it out either.
If you ask me, what's Strange World about? That released at some point, didn't it?
I remember that it's basically dad is mad at his dad for not letting him do a thing, and now he doesn't want to let his son do a thing, and also his son is gay, but we should be happy.
Okay.
Also, the part of the world that's cool is it turns out, spoiler alert, the whole thing that they're on is actually part of a large creature that they've been living in or on, and that's why some of the different resources stuff they found only exist in certain areas, and they look all weird. It's because it's actually like reverse Osmosis Jones.
Okay.
And that would just be cool for a world, I feel like.
Okay. Yeah. As far as worlds I think they're actually going to put in the game, Frozen 2, I think, is like a certainty.
Don't say that.
I know. I hope they do it way better than they did Frozen. I love Frozen as a movie, but as a Kingdom Hearts world is just kind of like, we're going to sing Let It Go, and we're going to move on. There's going to be this ice palace that has nothing to do with Elsa, which, by the way, I think the original plan was to make her fall to the darkness at some point, which would have been far better.
Oh, yeah. That's so cool. It wasn't a bad world. It was just this is here so we can say we did Frozen, though. Like, it didn't have any real substance.
Yeah, when Hans turns into a Heartless, Sora's like, who dat?
Yeah, like I'm like,
yeah,
it was so sad.
I think Moana is probably going to be a
And that would be
guarantee.
a fun
So
one. Like that'll be cool, and
absolutely.
they use the same mechanics
Island
they did for
hopping.
Pirates of the Caribbean in the last one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be good.
Yeah. Maui would be a great person to deal with the darkness in his
Ooh,
heart.
and he absolutely better be a summon leader.
Ooh.
Maui summon. I need it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. What can I say? But you're welcome for that idea.
Oh, that better be the summon title. It's just you're welcome.
But as far as like my actual answer for this, what we discussed earlier today, Inside Out would be perfect.
Yeah, I had to let you say it.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. Whether even if you just stayed in Riley's mind, I think it would be better if you did both. If you were in the real world helping her, but also inside of her mind, helping her emotions figure out that not only is Riley having this crisis, but Heartless are here influencing it, or maybe one of our new enemy organization here is messing with her in some way because she's a new princess of heart or something like that.
Yeah, if I'm not picking one that I would like to see necessarily, and it's not that I would hate it or anything like that. I love the movie. I absolutely love the movie I'm about to say. It's just, it's not, there's nothing that to me would make it that unique for Kingdom Hearts. So I don't care about seeing it, but it would still be, it's a good movie. So I'm fine. I'm convinced because mind you, they're going to do what's doing well with kids who live in Japan, which is why Big Hero 6 made it. I'm thinking Elemental is going to make it.
Okay. Yeah, that's another one of those. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but I have nothing against it.
I really enjoyed it, but it doesn't stand out to me. Like it's just another Pixar film to me.
I mean, you could use the central premise of these different elemental forces. Maybe that would be a way for Sora to improve his magic, is to learn from them, and that's how you upgrade Faraga or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think part of it that would be fun. Also, Raya would be a fun world, but that's just a side note. No, but I think if they were to do it, I think the thing that I would have the most fun with is a thing that makes me not interested, and I know that makes no sense, but it would be, oh look, here's the Heartless that are fire. Use ice on them. Oh look, here's the Heartless that are water. You use thunder, and it's like, oh, okay.
You know? I mean, yeah, with that way, it could even be the first world you go to after Quadratum, but yeah, I wouldn't be big on it.
Yeah, but I'm convinced there's a good chance that that'll end up showing up or something from it because it did do pretty well in Japan, from my understanding.
Okay,
I might be mistaken. I think I heard that though.
All right, so we spent a lot of time talking about worlds. We should do an episode about that.
Yeah, my bad.
So no, that's perfectly fine. That was a ton of fun to discuss. So we know secret ending of the game and all that. Sora is back. The Master of Masters is around, and not only that, but his apprentices have been brought forward into the future by Luxu, who is also Zigbar, who is also Braig, who is also Xehanort.
And probably Sora.
And probably Sora. Maybe even Kyrie somehow.
So, ultimate reveal: Sora and Kyrie have been together the whole time because they're the same person.
So, like, how do you see these new villains? Because they look like they're going to be our villains of the story. I think they don't think they're the villains. I think because of the Book of Prophecies, they think what they're doing is for your argument against the greater good. And like, we have to work as an organization to do these evil things so that light is preserved.
Well, what's unique about the Master of Masters that actually is going to make the game deeply interesting, and why I think Ahsoka would be a really cool inclusion? Or if they just decided, you know what, screw the movies, we're doing Gray Jedi, we're going to include them now.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen, and what's going to be really interesting, and this is slightly me prophesying. So, you know, I couldn't think of the right word. What am I trying to say? Guessing what's going to happen. This is
predicting.
Yeah. And also partly just me hoping. It's a little bit of combination here. But Master of Masters, from what I understand in the original phone games, he's very much light and dark are both good. We want both. We don't want either to win out. He wants there to be a balance. So when light is winning, what's he do? Powers up the darkness. When darkness is winning, what's he do? Power up the light. He intentionally created a system where Organization 13 would happen, and there would be another Keyblade War because he knows that war has to happen for balance to occur. And here we are, post that war. the good guys won, he might be trying to give some power to the dark side, but he doesn't necessarily want the dark side to win. He wants balance.
Yeah.
Which is also where Star Wars would fit in so well. But I think what's interesting is Sora and Riku and them have had a journey where they've learned that light's not always good and dark's not always bad. So they also want balance? Question mark.
Yeah. Because I actually kind of hope he's at least a good figure of some sort in the games. I don't see him as evil outright. I see him as this zany, almost so one person. It's like if Deadpool started leading an organization of people at some point in time. I kind of want him and Riku to interact with each other because of Riku learning how to wield dark and light, and how there's nothing inherently wrong with the darkness we see in the world, because it's part of creation is light and dark, but dark is more easy to get corrupted by because of what you have to do for it. So then you have the two of them kind of bringing their philosophies together, and we could learn more about the Master of Masters that way, using Riku as kind of like a conduit.
Yeah, it's where I really feel like this is just a tiny personal gripe. I feel like it would have made more sense if Sora and Kairi actually got together at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, and that Riku was now our main protagonist. I think it would be better because of the journey he had. It just sets things up better for a conflict with the Master of Masters.
Ooh, okay.
Especially because what's going to happen is the Master of Masters sees light and darkness and balance as the goal. Whereas Riku sees you need both to accomplish the goal, but the balance is not the goal. The goal is for life. It is for love. It are for all these things he's learned to value. His friendships, that's a big thing in Kingdom Hearts. Friendship is a value. And he uses light and dark in balance. For what? Not to create more light and dark, but to support his friends. And I think that's where Ahsoka would be a really good character in this thing, because she's seen light be evil. And her interacting with Riku and saying, wait a minute, balance can't be the goal. There's got to be more. And for them to come in conflict with Master of Masters and his philosophy, and you have a Kingdom Hearts game where it's not light versus dark, it's light and dark versus light and dark.
Yeah. And that fits in perfectly with Star Wars part of it too, in that for the Chosen One prophecy, the goal was all Jedi, no Sith, but that does not mean all Jedi just use the light side of the Force. There are ways you could utilize Force lightning to power up an engine or something like that. Like, you can even argue, and I would be one of those people, Jedi abilities we would consider light side, like mind tricks, are evil because they remove someone's free will. So you could have someone like Ahsoka, who is closer to the Great Jedi. She is not actually one yet, but to that sense of you combine light and dark, neither one controls me. And this is how we can actually achieve that balance, because we don't want Sith. We want Force users who can control both and not use us to harm outside of protection.
Oh yeah. There's so many good stories that we can tell with this, and especially because Kingdom Hearts has already shown it's not light and dark. Like it's a false dichotomy to begin with. And now we've moved past the light versus dark battle, and we're able to get those deeper storylines. Yeah. And we're able to have Star Wars involved. And of course, the most important lesson they're going to learn is it's not about fortune and glory. It's about the adventure with Indiana Jones.
Yes.
And then the video game franchise can end when they all realize they don't want Sora or Kairi or Riku or Xehanort. Everybody actually just wanted to watch Indiana Jones. And that's how it ends.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a secret.
The secret indeed. They all actually just sat down and watched Indiana Jones.
Yeah. All right. So how about cameos you'd like to see from Disney films or Square Enix products?
I think we accidentally already included that.
We did for Disney side.
I would like to see the Aristocats. I think it'd be fun. The Three Caballeros. Okay. I really want to see the Three Caballeros and Mr. Toad. I think Mr. Toad would be so much fun. It would be so cool to see Mr. Toad. Yeah. Also, we mentioned some of the Star Wars. I want Ahsoka. I really want Ahsoka to show up.
Okay.
Others. You go. Let me think. Oh,
Yep.
Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. From the Final Fantasy side of things, I would like to see Lightning. 13 wasn't my favorite games in the series, or 13 2 or 3, but I like her a lot, and I think she could serve as kind of like a tougher mentor to Sora or even Kyrie, uh, kind of playing off against Aqua in that sense. I think Aqua would be like that, a very good teacher, but maybe not strict enough, not tough enough.
I got the most ridiculous thought ever from that.
Go for it.
I'm sorry. So much like we had the ship mechanics in Pirates of the Caribbean, I think the world should be bigger and we should just have more vehicles on world.
Okay.
Hear me out. So we have, how like Final Fantasy has cars now? I think Sora and the gang see someone driving a cool convertible on like the side of a mountain, like what happens in the Final Fantasy game. And they're like, oh man, I want one. And they go get a car and it's Lightning McQueen, baby. Or better yet, Mater.
And I don't know how they would do a Cars world, but that sounds like something that I would be terrible at, because I cannot drive with anything in a video game to save my life.
That's why I'm hoping for more of like a cameo, like how Ratatouille was part of like Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
He was just there doing the recipes. I think it would be fun if our vehicle to get around worlds, because the worlds are a little bit bigger, is just Mater or Lightning McQueen.
What if that was your fast travel option? Was drive Lightning?
It just drives between worlds now.
Perfect.
I'm here for it. That would be great.
Okay. Now,
I'm trying to think of how you would get a Nemo cameo, because I want Nemo to be there, but like I don't want it to be a world, because actually maybe it would be a cool, because I liked the Kingdom Hearts 1 Little Mermaid was great. Kingdom Hearts 2 Little Mermaid trash, but that kind of swimming mechanic was fun, so maybe it would be okay as a world, perhaps.
Now, I thought maybe they could combine the two, but they're also taking place in different times, so I don't know if that would work as much.
Well, and now that I think about it, like the big Pixar movies, they already did Toy Story and Monsters Inc., so they probably will do Nemo or Finding Dory, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that as a possibility. I'm fairly certain they're going to do Toy Story again as well sometime later on.
They gotta.
Which I wouldn't be against. Love the world. As long as you provided other new worlds.
Yeah.
Right. So after that, I guess.
What if they included a little dog from Fox and the Hound named Copper?
They can do that. They can even keep barking in the midst of recording.
That would be great.
And it interrupted Sora's attacks or something.
Oh man, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
All right. So what kind of concepts? Oh, go ahead.
You know how Kingdom Hearts 1, she had like the table with Maleficent and all the other Disney baddies? I want that to come back at the very least, so that we have Jafar and Dr. Facilier and Maleficent. Ooh. Like some of the bad guys from the movies. We talk about Ratigan, like some of these guys all together. Ratigan would be funny because they'd have to have like the shadow of him and he looks huge, and then it zooms out and he's all tiny compared to the rest. It'd be great.
That's one thing I wish they'd go back to. I hate that they abandoned that concept of a council of villains, because Disney's just got this thing about the other characters can't know about the other Disney movies and all this mess. It's like, why?
That was so much fun. Yeah.
So I don't see them doing it again, but I would really like it.
Yeah, me too. It was great.
Speaking of stuff like that, what other concepts would you like to see introduced, or would you like to see removed from the game or brought back?
I'm done with the Keyblade transformations. I know we talked about the Spider-Man one being cool, but like it was too much for me. There was too much going with that, and then the other magic that was like attractions from Disney World, both being introduced in Arts 3. It was just too much, and it made it too easy, because I had so many options that I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm out of attraction magic. Let me use my summons. Oh, I'm out of summons. Let me use, and like I could just constantly go from something to something, and then, oh, hey, I won.
Yeah.
And it got boring. And then they like did the worst correction ever, because everyone complained about it being too easy. Like, oh, we'll make a really hard version where you die in one hit. And it's like, that's not what we meant by making it harder. We don't want to die here. We just want the combat to be better.
Yeah.
So I'd get rid of both of those and bring back the drives. The drives were cool. And when I have perfect mode and can go ham on Hitler, that'll be great.
Yeah, I agree. The attractions were a fun idea.
It
I'm
was
glad they included it, but I'm done with them. It just made things way too easy,
fun.
and I like a little bit of challenge. I don't wanna be, like, massacred 5 steps. This isn't Dark Souls. I don't want this to become Dark Souls.
That would be a fun world, though.
Goodness gracious. But, yeah, I want to see, yeah, exploration of more magic, different things we can do with it, to expand on what we already have. Let's see, what else would I like? What did you say earlier? Oh, the drives.
Drives.
I want the drives back.
Yeah,
Like,
that was the best part of Kingdom Hearts 2 for me.
I mean, yeah, as tedious as it could get sometimes, leveling them up depending on what you had to do, they're still great, and they save you in fights.
This is a super specific and stupid idea. I
Of
want
course.
a map that is far less specific. Because one of the things in Kingdom Hearts 1 that made it really challenging is you were never quite sure where you were supposed to go. And then Kingdom Hearts 2 happened, and it's like, not only is there a map, there's a little blinking dot, and then if you open this part of the pause moment, it'll tell you exactly what to do next. And part of what was fun is figuring it out for yourself, which I guess I could always do, but when you make it too easy for me to figure out, it takes some of the fun out.
You see, we were in sync a second ago, and you pull out something stupid like that.
I'm sorry. I have to have at least one bad opinion per episode.
You know what? That's fair. All right. One more thing, and we'll be done. Oh, no. I just lost my... I just exited out of it. Come back. All right. So we mentioned it earlier. What do we want from the pre-established characters we have? I'm talking your Mickeys, Riku, Kairi, the Wayfinder trio, goodness gracious, Axel, Roxas, Xion, so on and so forth.
Do you want my worst opinion yet?
God help us all. Go ahead.
Let's start killing them off.
I'm not opposed to that idea.
No, I don't want them to kill Mickey. Let me be clear. I would like it if Mickey was trapped the entire game. I want kill Axel off. Let's kill let's just start killing some people. Like, here, my thing is, it's not that I don't love the characters. I love the characters, and I want their deaths to be meaningful. But like you said, the games are bloated. Like, there's too much going on. Let's weed it out. It not only will it add gravity.
Gravitas.
Thank you. To the main villain, because it's, oh shoot, our people are actually dying now.
Yes.
We actually see there being some weight to the game, some consequences. That would be cool. But also, you get rid of some of the bloat where there's too much going on. And if you just get everybody captured or something real convenient for the story, that's great. Because the thing is, like, I love Mickey. But even in Kingdom Hearts 2, he was barely there. And yet, you knew what parts of the game that you're just like, okay, well, I don't have to try that hard here because Mickey will come and save me. And the same thing, Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, it just, I want to be without the handicap. Like, it feels like the last 2 games we were playing with the handicap, where at any time the king can just come save us. Nah, get rid of that stuff. Give me just, hey, you lose, you lose. Go save the king or die trying.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not opposed to that idea. If it were handled well, if it was done to establish how big a threat our new villains are, if, say, Roxas got taken out, or even someone like Naminé, someone that would be a huge gut punch, and I'd hate to see him die. But if you did it well enough, I'd be okay.
Man, this is so weird. Okay. Also, alternatively, it could be the realm you're in for some reason. Roxas, since he was or is or who knows, nobody, can't make it to that realm. Something that would just keep us from having the handicap and having all the bloat would be cool. But also, the best video game death, like the best handled, in my opinion, and it happened off screen. Ratchet and Clank, when Al the plumber died. Because it was one of those, it was like, oh, he died. They made a joke about it or something, and you moved on. And it just comes up here and there slowly. And for me, it felt very much like what happens in real life sometimes. I don't know. Do you remember Hubert from the cafeteria at UNCW? That might not have been.
Yes.
It was Hubert, right?
I know the general idea of who you're talking about.
Yeah, but like for me, it felt very much like real life because of something like that, where I'm like, oh, that's sad, and you move on, and then someone else brings it up, and then later you realize, wait, that had a much more, that had a much bigger impact on my life than I thought it did, and that's what happened in the Ratchet Clank. I was like, oh, okay, we'll make a quick joke, we'll move on, and then I think it was because the voice actor or something passed away, but eventually it's like, oh wait, no, like more things happen, and Ratchet even says it when he was like, man, I just wish Al was here, and you're like, oh yeah, Al's gone. And that was it's just so real the way they handled the loss. I wouldn't want any of these characters to die off screen, but if they actually explored what it was like when you lose a friend, and one of the big, I found a way to squeeze C.S. Lewis in here. One of the things he writes in the Four Loves that really was impactful for me, and it's actually helped me deal with death a lot. He writes about how one of the hard things when you lose a friend isn't just that you lost that friend, because he talks about how a friend brings up a different part in you. So me, Christian, and person X, if we're all hanging out, there is part of Christian that only comes out around person X. Like person X brings out that part of Christian that only comes out around person X. And same thing with me. So if person X were to die, I don't just lose them. I lose a part of myself, and I lose a part of Christian. I will never see that part of Christian that comes up only around person X again. And man, that loss is real. And I think that's something that they could explore here if some of our characters were to pass away, because Roxas is very much parts of Sora only exist because of Roxas. Parts of Goofy only exist because of Donald and Mickey, and maybe even Axel brings out part of Kyrie that only comes out. Like, I think we could really explore loss in a meaningful way if done right, and it would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm behind that. I think as well, like if we're not killing them off, which I would expect them to do.
Yeah, they're not. They're probably not going to kill everybody off.
I want them to be doing something worthwhile, or to have something that prevents them from interacting with things.
Yeah.
Maybe they're fighting other members of our, what the heck they call themselves, the Forerunners or something like that. Or it's,
I could find no man.
Halo. I don't know if that's also Kingdom Hearts. So, foretellers maybe. Yeah. The mobile game people that exist and will be our villains more than likely.
Yeah.
Like maybe you have, Roxas and Axel and Gion fighting them on this world over here, and maybe there'll be a boss in another game because they're dealing with them right here. And I want something proactive from it. Like we mentioned earlier, of like, hey, why don't we research Kingdom Hearts? Why don't we make sure no one else gets to abuse it again? So maybe you have someone like, Terra, who's been his life has been ruined by something like this, and have him struggle with leading a team of like Enzo or someone researching it, while Aqua and Kairi are training, also looking for Sora. While it looks like Riku is going to meet up with Sora at the very beginning, because that's also part of the secret ending as well, if I remember correctly. And you've got trying to think of who else, like the Disney Palace people are also handling a threat over here. Like maybe they're doing recon on Maleficent or something. That way they can warn Sora about what's happening. Give them a purpose.
I think Terra would be the perfect beginning death. Terra confronts Master of Masters because they're going to save Sora. They try to hold him back because, like, hey, you don't know what he's capable of, whatever. And he goes up and they have a whole conversation. And the Master of Masters explains why he let everything happen, why Xehanort needed to happen so that we could bring things in balance. And do you know who would be the most pissed off hearing someone say Xehanort needed to happen? Terra would want to rip this guy new one. He rages at him and then
ruined his life.
Well, like a snap of the finger or something, Terra's just gone. It would be meaningful. It would be cool. And it would be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what Terra would do. Oh, it would be good. It would be good. Okay. I need some Kingdom Hearts deaths. Listen, I need the Deathly Hallows Kingdom Hearts version.
Okay. I highly doubt that's what's going to happen.
Oh, but it's not. But it would be cool.
Handled well, I would get behind it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to the speculation of what could be?
I don't know. I here's my thing. I worry that they didn't learn anything from Kingdom Hearts 3, that the game's still going to be too easy because we need new kids to get into it, and they're only going to do like new Disney stuff or stuff that's popular, and they're not going to think about like which of these worlds actually makes the most sense for a video game, which feeds into the story the best. I mean, even part of Kingdom Hearts 3 story, it's like they created a story to just kind of fit the worlds they wanted to pick. Like, oh yeah, now we're going to come up with new Seven Hearts. It's like, okay, you just wanted to pick these worlds and need an excuse, and instead come up with your story and then figure out which worlds. Disney has a ton of stories. Some of them are bound to coincide with the story you're trying to tell. Use those worlds. Don't just pick what's popular at the time.
All right. What do you guys think? Would you like to? Is there some world we didn't mention of the many Disney movies out there? Was there a live action option we should have brought up along the way, like they did with Tron? That'd be a real fun thing to do.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins would be perfect. She's practically perfect in every way. Would she be the perfect princess of heart to destroy all heartless just by her very presence?
But Mary Poppins is also Kyrie.
So leave us a comment down below. Say, hey, you should have focused on this. You should have said something about this. We'll be there to comment back to you. We are very hyped about this game. We want to hear what you have to say too.
One last thing to point out. If we're talking live action Disney, technically 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is an option.
That would be a great one.
Mind blown.
Yes. We've already had a squid as a giant boss, but we can have it again.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah. Yeah. I am fine with that. So, Joshua, do you have a recommendation for the audience?
Man. Hang out with Christian Ashley if you get the chance. Yeah, that's something I think is a lot of fun. Everybody should give it a chance. It's worth a try.
Fair enough. In keeping with the spirit of what we're supposed to be doing, I'll go wildly off topic, and I suggest Swan Song by Robert McCammon. If you've read The Stand by Stephen King, this is a different take on a post-apocalyptic world caused by nuclear warfare. Immensely well done. One of my favorite stories ever written.
Nice.
Okay. So thank you guys for everything you do. This is just YouTube only, right? Is that what we're planning?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just leave a like and subscribe down below. We definitely appreciate everything you do. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought. Anything you would have liked for us to focus on. But remember, we're all the chosen people, a geekdom of priests.